welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia is here. AJ DeLesio is here.
Khabib.
www.ringsidereport.net is our website. We're on YouTube. Usually Thursday nights, Wednesday night this week because of Halloween. We had to do our trick-or-treating on Thursday and Friday nights and so on, right? So we are doing our special Ringside Report Halloween edition, and AJ is dressed up like the great Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I'm dressed up like Hulk Hogan, brother, kind of. Like.
And Freddy's dressed up as?
Myself. The one and only.
A beast. A monster. Fred Garcia.
I thought you were going to say something like Matt Serra or something like that. He looks like Matt Serra tonight.
So we're here. We've got a lot of MMA to get to over the next hour. Of course, UFC 244 coming up on Saturday night. We're going to preview that. If you're just listening to this show on the radio, you can watch us on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Like the video, subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment. Do all those things. Who you got on Saturday night? Nate Diaz or Jorge Masvidal? Last week we talked to you. We thought the fight was off, but the UFC's like, no, Nate. You didn't fail a drug test. Everything's cool, Nate. Everything's cool. You can totally fight. So Nate's like, I thought so. And now he's fighting. That's really the story, right? That's what happened?
I don't know. It's a weird one. Look, in the end, I'm going to have to hope that everybody is being, like authentic, honest, aren't hiding anything, but I don't think so. From what we understand, Nate Diaz basically had trace amounts for, I forgot what type of
androgen receptor.
SARMS, which is like sort of close to a steroid, but it's not a steroid.
It's more of a performance enhancer. That's what it is, more than anything.
Yeah, he had trace amounts of this, and how are they explaining that he had this?
I don't think they are. They are. And I feel like in other cases, people have been punished, or at least fight have been put off for these reasons. And like Nate's getting a pass. There's a lot of money on the line.
Very strange. So Nate last week comes out and says, they say I had a test with elevated levels of something, but there's no way because I only eat whole foods and I only take natural supplements, so there's no way I could have taken a tainted supplement and been in any kind of trouble like this.
Yeah, but he is pretty clean, Dave.
But
like when you think about it, he's always like very open about his drug use.
Nate said that he was going to pull out of the fight because he didn't want his name put out there and he didn't want, people covering it up. And then after the fight, you find out that he was on something. So he's saying, look, if I'm on something, that I'm not allowed to fight, I'm not going to fight, even though the UFC and USADA, they never said anything like that. And then the UFC and USADA come out later, and they're like, okay, Nate Diaz, he's got elevated levels, but the testing is very, stringent, and it might have been an error in the testing, and we're not really sure how it got there, but we believe Nate Diaz is a clean athlete, and this is just an error or some sort of anomaly, and Nate's allowed to fight on Saturday night. It seems very strange. Like the whole way that the fight was off and then on again, it's odd. Well, actually, it's really weird, and it's unprecedented in the UFC. Like, you've seen the promotion come out and be like, this guy is not going to fight because he's got elevated levels of something. You've never seen a fighter come out and say, I'm not going to fight because they told me that I had elevated levels. And then the promotion come out and say, no, it's all cool, you can fight. That's never happened before.
And there was a good 36 hours where we didn't really know. Because last week the news came out on the Thursday. We did our show, and I think we didn't find out until like Saturday during the day that, this fight was still going on. That's when the UFC said, yeah, this fight's still going on. So, look, let's not lie to ourselves. There's a lot of money on this fight, to be made. In other cases, maybe other fighters wouldn't have got the same treatment. But look, if Nate is cleared to fight, he's cleared to fight. What do you want?
But maybe cleared to fight, because it doesn't mean that USADA can't come and suspend him after the fight. So they're just taking a step backwards right now. It's a title fight, sort of a created title. So maybe there's some reason for USADA to step back and say, you know what? We'll suspend the guy after.
Well, there shouldn't be.
Because we're gonna have to find out what exactly he had, right?
There shouldn't be. Maybe there's going to be more stringent testing. Maybe he's going to be subjected to more testing. To me, that would be a normal like situation for him, having like trace levels. That to me is a flag that you should be like testing the guy a little bit more.
But in the UFC, like talking to guys like Pat Cote back in the days, they get tested all the time, and they have surprise testings. They don't even know when it happens. They're tested all the time, and I'm not talking about, like we're talking mid-range fighters that get tested all the time. When you're elite fighters, you're getting tested even more. I mean, the UFC cannot afford to lose a fight, so close to the fight card. Mind you, this is a big fight to everybody who wants to see this.
I mean,
it's not like
it's
title.
a huge fight. I'm just saying it was weird the way that it was built up, and the Nate Diaz thing. It's been a bit strange. It's been out of the ordinary. I'm happy that we're getting this fight. Last week, we were sitting here and wondering if this fight was going to happen or not.
I thought McGregor was going to step in.
We've got big plans. We're going to do a live watch-along on Saturday night. We're going to play some poker. We're going to have a big party because Nate Diaz is fighting Jorge Masvidal for the BMF World Championship. Like, we're going to have a big party on Saturday night, and it's dependent on this fight. And a lot of guys out there, a lot of people out there are having big parties on Saturday night because Nate and George are fighting for the UFC BMF Championship. So I'm happy that this is going on because we get to have a big celebration. You can all watch us on YouTube, watch the UFC pay-per-view, which always, is a lot of fun on the Ringside Report Network channel. We get
blast here.
Yeah, we watch the pay-per-view and you get to watch us react to the pay-per-view. I think the last one we did it was for a Jorge Masvidal fight, and that was some great stuff that you could still watch on the YouTube channel. See our reaction when Masvidal flew in the air and knocked out Ben Askren. Like, that was great, and it's kind of fun. Like, we get to watch our reactions back. It's even fun for us because we get to see it, and it's kind of funny, right? Seeing Fred reacting. I stood up, I think, when it happened.
I picked Masvidal, don't forget.
I
was on the I don't want to go like AJ was right or anything, but hey, Fred was on the Masvidal bandwagon early.
Listen, that was the only time I was shocked to see a fight end the way it did. I thought it was, everybody did, including Askren. That was like one of those fights where you wish it never happened. You cannot take it back, but now, I mean, he fought again. And he didn't do too bad.
Can I say a last thing about Nate's testing?
Tell me.
I heard everybody go like, oh, Nate Diaz, he's clean, blah, blah, blah. And I believe him. I believe him to be clean.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of people, though, mentioning that, Gilbert and Jake Shields both tested positive in the past. So that whole their team is super clean thing, like, let's not exaggerate.
They did have two close teammates test positive and get suspended, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This
is still
performance-enhancing drugs. And his brother, tested positive and got suspended, but it was always for weed, so it was never for anything.
But if you follow him on Instagram, does he look only on weed lately, or he looks a little more?
He's definitely drinking alcohol, that's for sure, if you follow him on Instagram, the Nick Diaz Party Instagram. The Nick Diaz Party seems to never stop. People were saying when Nate was maybe going to drop out, that Nick should step in and take the fight. I don't think Nick is in fighting shape these days.
Think so.
I don't think he's ready to step into the UFC. How about Nate? Odds makers have him as the underdog, plus 135. Masvidal minus 155, the favorite. Fred, you took Masvidal over Askren. Are you taking Masvidal here over nasty Nate Diaz?
This is a hard one for me because I'm on the Masvidal bandwagon. I want him to win, but as far as a pick, I'm gonna go with Nate Diaz. I think this fight is gonna stay standing up, and I think Nate Diaz is better in the stand-up and in the grappling than Masvidal. So wherever this fight goes, I think Nate's gonna be okay. I don't think Masvidal has the wrestling to keep Nate on his back and ground and pound him or anything like that. And I think if Nate keeps the distance, his boxing is quicker, crisper, more precise. So I got Nate winning tomorrow, probably by decision. I think this goes 5 rounds.
5 rounds?
Oh, yeah, 5 rounds of a nice war. The crowd's going to love it. To me, that's what I'm going to predict on this fight.
AJ?
You know what? I'm on Fred's bandwagon right here. I agree with Fred. I think Masvidal is an awesome fighter. The problem with Masvidal is that sometimes in rounds he sleeps. He could go hot and cold. You just don't know. I mean, Diaz has been fighting since 2007. He's got a lot of experience. No, and I'm not going to take away from Masvidal. This guy was starting in the streets of in Florida or whatever with the Kimbo Splice days. So he's got a fighter's mentality, just go in there and brawl. But the problem is that he's not fighting a guy like Diaz. You got to literally kill Diaz to stop him because Diaz is going the distance. He's not getting knocked out, and he's not going to be submitted. Masvidal has a good wrestling game, but he will not submit Diaz. I'm going with Fred. It's going to be a decision. Diaz.
You know, these guys have been fighting for a long time. You said Nate's been fighting since 2007. He's actually been fighting since 2004 as a professional. And Masvidal's been fighting since 2003. These guys have been in the game for a long time. You're talking about in the UFC?
In the UFC since 2007.
Right. Masvidal, a little bit more of a newcomer in the UFC, but that's only because, you know, he was in Strikeforce for a long time. He's been in the UFC, though, since 2013. So it's been like a good 6 years of growth here up until this biggest fight of his career coming up, main eventing Madison Square Garden, with The Rock apparently going to present this new championship that the UFC's made, a $50,000 belt. The BMF Championship of the World will be presented to the winner of this Nate Diaz-George Masvidal fight. This is the biggest fight of Masvidal's career, and it's been a long career. I remember when he fought Gilbert Melendez back in Strikeforce for the Strikeforce title and came up short there. That was 2011, man. That was like almost, 9 years ago? 8, 9 years ago.
He has evolved since, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's a very different fighter now than he was back then, right? He's a lot more well-rounded, and he's a lot more dangerous. Like, he seemed like more of a volume guy earlier on in his career, he'd beat you with his stamina and he'd kind of hit you with a bunch of punches. But recently, he is just knocking people out. He seems like he's got more muscle and power.
Hunger. Also, I think he's hungry.
Maybe it's I feel like Masvidal has always been a hungry fighter, though.
But right now, he's seeing all these guys making good money, whether it's Nate Diaz against McGregor or McGregor himself. You know, he sees these big paydays, and he's seeing his opportunity. So, yeah, he's capitalizing on it. So, good for him. I love the attitude, the personality, everything. So, this is going to be a fun fight.
It's been an interesting road for George Masvidal, right? Like, he's been kind of up and down in his career. Like, he's won a couple and then lost a couple, you know?
Yeah, but that goes with experience too, Dave. Like I said, coming from the streets, he doesn't have that technical edge where you're gonna get once you start training with real strikers and real grapplers and whatnot. And you can look at Kimbo Slice too. When Kimbo was fighting back in the days in the backyards, this guy was just a brawler puncher. But then when you saw Kimbo evolve till his last fights, he got way, way better, man.
Yeah, but let's not compare Masvidal to Kimbo Slice. No. I think Masvidal is a way more polished mixed martial artist than Kimbo ever was. No disrespect. We miss you, Kimbo.
Well, I think also Masvidal starting, like you say, at 18, and Kimbo was already up in age, you know?
Yeah.
Like me having started jiu-jitsu at 38, and when I see guys that start at 18, I see their learning curve is much better than mine, you know?
But I'm saying about Masvidal, like, even recently, he had won 3 in a row in the UFC. He beat Ross Pearson in 2016, and then Jake Ellenberger, and then Donald Cerrone. You know, it was a big win. And then he fought Demian Maia, and he lost. Then he fought Wonderboy Thompson, and he lost. But then he came back. He beats Darren Till. He has that beautiful knockout over Ben Askren. Then all of a sudden, he finds himself in this mega fight with Nate Diaz fighting for this made-up championship. But, you know, he stands to make a ton of money. I watched the UFC embedded. George Masvidal's flying in from Miami into New York on a private jet. Like, this is a big-time, big-money fight for George Masvidal. It's cool to see this guy who's, you know, not been this undefeated phenom who's been heralded as this great top fighter, next big thing, whatever, Conor McGregor, John Jones, Ronda Rousey type, you know? But all of a sudden he finds himself in this main event, and I think that's why people like him so much. He appeals to people because he hasn't been this nonstop force. He's won some, he's lost some, you've seen him go up, you've seen him go down, and this is kind of his moment. It's nice to see the George Masvidal story.
People love to, you know, the hard-working guy that works his way to the top, and that's what Masvidal is right now. So that's why I'm going to say I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for Nate. Like, Nate has had a big payday against Conor in the past, even 2. hopefully good paydays. This is probably Masvidal's first big payday. You know, this is the type of money that changes somebody's life. I'm happy for Masvidal. It's well-deserved for all the years that he's put in the sport. And he's become, like I say, a personality, a star, like in the last year and a half. And you forgot to mention one thing when you said his little run, his 2-win. He did, you know, beat up Leon Edwards. And that helped a lot his personality. Like, you know, the fact that on that backstage brawl that he had
after knocking out Darren
Yeah,
Till,
exactly.
Which, you know, he came in.
It was a nice win.
And it was in England. He came in as the underdog in his backyard, and he knocked him out. It was very impressive. And he was losing that fight up until that point.
He got knocked down as well.
He got beat up in that fight, and then Till got knocked out, and all of a sudden Masvidal, you know, he has this huge win, and then this Leon Edwards, he starts trash-talking him backstage. And then Masvidal, he hit him a couple times, and nothing seemed to happen to Masvidal. He escaped the country, and everything was cool. And he called it like a 2-piece and a soda or something, you know?
That's right.
And that's where, like, the personality came out. That's where
it.
people started loving him.
He became like a personality, and then all of a sudden he has this fight with Ben Askren when his stock is really high, and he does this amazing thing by flying across the octagon, knocking out Ben Askren in 5 seconds with a knee to the face.
And rewatching it today, I think he could have done better because there's like a second and a half at the beginning where he's smiling. Like he could have started running much earlier. So like Masvidal, I expect a little bit more next time.
He was smiling to fake him out. But, you know, it's a cool story for Jorge Masvidal. It's kind of like the Nate Diaz story, who he had been, you know, kind of up and down in his career, won some big fights, lost some big fights, had some title fights, never won the championship. All of a sudden, he steps in on like 6 days' notice when Rafael dos Anjos gets injured, fights Conor McGregor, submits Conor McGregor, and Nate Diaz is a superstar of MMA, and then he has a rematch with Conor where he really cashes in, and then he doesn't fight for like 3 years because he's rich, you know? So it's cool, like Jorge Masvidal is kind of getting that treatment, and he's kind of going in that way, becoming a superstar of MMA. And this fight has a lot to do with it. And I thought it was really cool of Nate Diaz to call out Jorge Masvidal and kind of elevate him to his level. This was a very nice, very giving, very cool move by Nate Diaz. And if you see the build-up to this fight, you know, Masvidal and Nate, two of the best trash talkers in the game, talking no trash. It's all respect. It's all love. George understands what Nate has done for him. Nate understands who George is, and he respects him because he's a fighter cut from the same cloth. They're very similar, and they're going to go out there and have a tremendous fight. And I love it, man. This is what true martial arts is all about, and it gets to main event Madison Square Garden, and it just happens to be for a gimmick title, the BMF Championship, not like my real WWE title that I have won because I'm Hulk Hogan, brother. What are you going to say to that, Habib?
Nothing, man. I'm going to say nothing.
Yeah, you'll say nothing,
because
Khabib.
takes everybody's belts.
Yeah.
If he goes into WWE, he's going to take that belt too.
But you've both picked Nate Diaz to win by decision.
Well, I'm going to tell
and
you
I'm
why.
also going to pick Nate Diaz to win,
well, there we
but
go.
I'm taking him to win by TKO. I think he's going to finish Jorge Masvidal. All that nice stuff being said about Masvidal, I think Nate's going to beat him, and I think he's going to finish him. I think Nate's going to finish him in the, you know, maybe third if he's doing really well, maybe the fourth or fifth. But I think Nate beats Masvidal and puts him out. I think he just puts a pace on him that he can't handle. Nate Diaz is a different type of thing.
Dave, the only thing that you might have a point on is that Diaz has a 2-inch reach. So a 2-inch reach with his boxing skills may set up the fact that he could knock him out. Just the fact that Masvidal is just he's a beast. He's able to take a punishment. You're right. If he gasses up, because we all know that Diaz he's a triathlete. This guy his cardio levels are through the roof.
Yeah.
If Masvidal gets tired with Diaz's reach, you might get that knockout.
That's what I'm saying.
But to be honest, I don't think
It's a 5-round fight.
I think it's going to be like a real war, and I'm still going with the decision with Freddie. And I think it's going to go. It's going to be one of those title fights where we're going to be like, holy smokes, who goes for it next?
Well, there you have it. The entire crew have Nate Diaz winning against Jorge Masvidal. Nate Diaz coming in as the underdog. We have him to beat Jorge Masvidal, just like we had Demian Maia to beat Ben Askren last week. Well, I guess Freddie and I did.
Because it feels right now like AJ's just jumping on our
because
wave.
he was shamed last week when we picked the main event, because last week Freddie and I both picked Demian Maia to win, even though Maia was the underdog. AJ, you went with the favorite, Ben Askren, and you were incorrect. But we are all going with the slight underdog here, plus 135 in the main event. Nathan Diaz for the victory, UFC 244. We'll get to that Ben Askren, Demian Maia fight in a little bit, and I also want to talk about whether Ben Askren should retire or not. People are saying he should quit MMA, so we'll get to that. But I want to get to the rest of this UFC 244 card before we move on. It's going to be a great fight. You know, without this fight, the card is kind of because it needs a big blockbuster main event. But this card underneath it is very good. I just wouldn't want to see the card main evented by, like, Kelvin Gastelum and Darren Till. It's an excellent co-main event for this super main event, but as a main event on its own, it wouldn't be that good. That's why I'm very thankful that the UFC was able to pull this together and get Nate Diaz back on this one, right?
Yeah, but they're all exciting fighters, guys that have fought each other, guys that have won and lost against each other. I think it's a good card. I mean,
yeah, but none of these other fights on the card is a main event, right?
Just let AJ tell us what he wants to tell us.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what he says. What are you trying to say, AJ?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the one when I was right with Dominic Reyes.
No,
in the first round.
Who you want to plug right now? No, I was sure you were gonna plug it. There's Johnny Walker on the card.
Of course, Johnny Walker.
He's not even on the pay-per-view, buddy.
Yeah.
But you know what? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know what. You tell me what. Let me tell you what is on the pay-per-view. Kelvin Gastelum
Is that what you wanted me to say?
Darren Till. Till moving up to middleweight. I hope Darren Till's fighting. There was a rumor that he wasn't going to be able to get into the country, not able to get a visa because of his criminal activities. But as far as we know, as of this recording of this program, Darren Till will be fighting Kelvin Gastelum. He is the underdog, plus 175. Gastelum minus 210, the favorite. This will be Till's first move up to middleweight after having some trouble making weight at 170 and losing a couple fights in a row to two of the best. As we mentioned, Jorge Masvidal in his last fight and Tyron Woodley before that.
I'm looking
when he got a title fight.
I'm looking. He has fought once in the U.S., so that one time he did get his visa. That means
yeah, but that was in 2018. I think he's done some stuff since then, hasn't he?
Oh,
yeah,
hasn't
there
he
was
wasn't there like a rampage? And
no, he stole a car or something like that
in Europe
taxi.
somewhere, in Spain or something.
Yeah. He stole a taxi.
Yeah,
and
he
there was
did
that
something.
Whole run.
U.S. doesn't like that.
No. So I don't know.
Connor's done worse.
Hopefully Darren Till is able.
How does Connor get into the country?
I have no idea.
Because he's proper 12.
Because he's got
and
more
I'm going to
money.
smash him.
He's got good lawyers. He's got more money, and he's close personal friends with, Vladimir Putin.
And Dana's close to Donald, so.
Dana's very close to Donald Trump. They talk all the time, apparently. Dana, they have dinner and stuff. They're good buddies. And Conor McGregor was at the World Cup as Vladimir Putin's personal guest. And we know that Putin and Trump are real tight. So, if Conor's tight with Putin, he could just call his buddy and say, yo, and then he gets into the country.
It's all about connections,
Darren Till, he doesn't have those kinds of connections, So Darren Till might have some trouble.
Yeah, he has Michael Bisping.
I think Darren Till is going to have some trouble if he does make it into the U.S. because Kelvin Gastelum's very good at fighting.
Yeah.
Right?
But let's not forget, it's
very
Darren
good.
Till.
He's very powerful. His wrestling's very good. Darren Till's going to struggle with that. I think, Kelvin Gastelum is just all kinds of problems for Darren Till.
Go, AJ. Make your pick.
Look, no, I'm just saying that the biggest problem with Darren Till was Darren Till trying to cut weight. We've seen it many times in the past where there's videos on him and he's looking like he's on death's door.
He's a middleweight
now. He's at middleweight. This is his first fight. And I think this is when...
No, it's not.
At middleweight.
At middle,
It's his first middleweight fight?
at 185. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something. We're going to see a different Darren Till. We're going to see Darren Till like we expected him to be. I just think cutting weight for that man was like horrendous. And if you see that, you'd never want to get into professional fighting.
So what's he going to do? Knock out Kelvin Gastelum?
You know what? Everybody is
that
like on Darren Till's...
What's he going to do?
Make a pick.
Look,
it's a 3-round fight. What's going to happen?
It's going to come down to a TKO by Darren Till. And I'm telling you, we're going to see Darren...
All right,
Hey, that's okay. AJ is.
AJ's gonna be wrong on that one because
here.
I'm gonna be with Dave on this one. I'm gonna say both of these guys are either small middleweights or big welterweights, so they're basically the same frame. And I think Gastelum's just a better wrestler. Like, yeah, Till's a little taller, but
Till's tall, Gastelum's thick.
Yeah, exactly. But they're still like in the same weight class. I mean,
yeah.
So to me, Gastelum's gonna win the grappling, and it's gonna go to the ground, and Till's gonna have a long night. If Till keeps this standing up, he has a chance. But
exactly.
other than
if
that,
he gets into the
won't.
clinch game and he keeps control, he'll beat Gastelum. But the thing is that he needs to get him in that clinch.
Gastelum rear naked choke submission.
Ooh, that's serious, Dave.
Round 2. It's gonna happen.
You know what?
Wonder Boy Thompson taking on Vicente Luque.
Luque, I like Luque.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
You like a Luque?
I like a Luque.
You like a little Luque?
I little lucky Luque.
He's won a bunch of fights in a row, this guy. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good coming from Brazil. And you know what? No offense to Steven
6
Thompson.
in a row.
Steven Thompson is awesome. He's an amazing guy. We've seen him fight live, and let me tell you,
He's a great fighter.
he's a great fighter. If you're fighting Steven Wonderboy Thompson, it's going to be a great fight. People are going to be entertained. Win or lose, Thompson brings it out. The problem is he's coming up against a hot fighter. You know, this guy, Vincent Luque, he reminds me of kind of like the same style of like Whitaker or even Pat Cote in the days. He's like straightforward fighter, attacker. You know, Wonder Boy is very creative, but I don't think it's going to be able to go down to the wire. I think Luque's going to take him down.
Nah, I disagree. I think Wonder Boy is going to beat him Wonder Boy style. He's going to outpoint him. He's going to outstrike him. He's going to keep the distance. He's going to use his karate style to beat
karate, maybe.
Luque and win a 3-round decision. I'm going to go with Wonder Boy Thompson. The odds makers have Wonder Boy minus 125, slight favorite. Luque plus 105, the underdog.
I'll tell you what, looking at those 3 fights, I'm predicting a night that's going to finish late because to me those are 3 decision fights.
I don't know about that. I got Gastelum by submission.
Yeah, maybe he submits Till.
I think Diaz is going to finish it.
Nah.
No.
Okay, here we go. How about a finish in this fight? Derek Lewis and Blagoy Ivanov. That's going to finish, right? Somebody's going to get knocked out there.
Listen, if you want to win big on a fight like this, put down a submission because no one's getting submitted. Someone's going like up into space. That's for sure. 2
big heavyweights. Blagoy is the favorite, minus 125. Lewis plus 105, the underdog.
And you know what?
This is a tough fight to call, man. Blagoy is pretty good.
Blagoy is awesome. Go ahead.
Tell you what, they're both tough. It might go to decision. Like this might be one that slows down as the rounds pass by.
Very possible.
So whoever wins this fight will be the guy with the better gas tank, which I'm gonna assume will be Blagoy.
Yeah, I can see Blagoy going with a better gas
tank.
Don't
forget Lewis is dangerous till the end, though. Lewis, he'll lose rounds 1 and 2, and all of a sudden in round 3 he comes out with a
knock. Well, it's like Volkov. Remember the Volkov fight? He was fighting 50 minutes. He destroyed Lewis. It was a given. He was winning the fight. The thing with Lewis is, I mean, that Black Beast, he comes out, and you'll never know when he's going to knock you out. He could be looking like on death's door, and he throws out that power punch, and it's a game over. So if you want to bet on someone, like especially in this fight, it's such a hard fight to go. But if anybody could pull off a victory with a knockout, it's going to be Lewis.
Blagoy has never been knocked out. I'm going with Blagoy for the win. And I'm thinking maybe it will go to a decision now that I'm really giving it a good thought here.
No,
I don't think it's going to end by knockout. I see Derek Lewis and I think knockout, but now that, Blagoy's tough, and I'm going to go with Blagoy for the win. Fred, you got Blagoy?
No, Derek Lewis.
You got Lewis, and you got Lewis
I got
too.
Lewis, and it's going to be a 3rd round
Dave's
knockout.
got Blagoy.
Knockout, 3rd round, Lewis.
Kevin Lee taking on Gregor Gillespie. Oh, man. Gregor Gillespie's very good. This guy's serious. 13-0. An undefeated fighter taking on Kevin Lee, who's very tough. Gillespie's 32. I'm surprised. I thought he was a little younger than that. Kevin Lee's only 27.
That's his lightweight debut, I think, yeah.
He's fought some tough guys.
Yeah, but you're looking to a striker to a grappler.
Kevin Lee, he's going down to lightweight.
Going back? No, he's always fought at
back.
lightweight.
Oh, yeah. No, he fought at welterweight the last couple of fights.
At 170, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he went up and then he went down?
Yeah, his last couple of fights were at welterweight. But you're right, actually. Only his last fight. He won 1 fight.
Yeah. And he changed gyms, too. I think he's training in Montreal here at TriStar. Gregor Gillespie minus 185, the favorite. Kevin Lee plus 160, the underdog. Yeah, Gregor's tough. I'm going with Gregor.
Look, this is going to be a striker to a grappler fight. If it goes down to the ground, Gillespie's he's a NCAA national champion, probably one of the best grapplers in MMA. The Phenom has like amazing striking. So, look, if it goes down to the ground, we know where it's going to end up.
You got Gregor?
Gregor for the submission.
Gregor. Corey Anderson, Johnny Walker. It's the main event of the prelim card. This one is on free TV, which is pretty awesome. You know, if you don't want to shell out the money for the pay-per-view, you could just watch this and be pretty entertained because Corey Anderson, Johnny Walker, I mean, that's a pay-per-view fight right there. That's excellent.
But you know what? It's great for Johnny Walker because think about it. Everyone's going to be able to see Johnny Walker at this point. That's why like the undercards or the prelim cards sometimes are a great platform for people to really understand a fighter. And, you know, in the early days, we'd say, oh, you have to be on the main card. But you want to be the main card on the prelim because everyone's going to know who Johnny Walker is after tomorrow night. We all know Johnny Walker. I knew Johnny Walker way back, even before I was drinking him. But the thing is this. Johnny
You're
Walker's
the worst, AJ.
Johnny Walker's biggest
We need
threat,
that sound effect, you know.
Where is it?
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
for,
really.
for a bad joke.
Ugh.
What do you mean bad joke? I will say Johnny Walker, man. Listen, I think Johnny Walker's biggest threat is himself. Because right now, Johnny Walker is hot. If he doesn't
What
like,
does that even mean?
it means that he hurts himself more than any opponent has hurt him.
Might be true.
It might be true. And the thing is that the only thing that concerns me now is that he came out of that super worm that he did and he busted up his shoulder. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to fight. We haven't seen him fight after that injury.
Well, it's been a while.
Saturday night is going to be that night to see if Johnny Walker has been troubled by that stupidity that he did.
Didn't he break his collarbone? That's what he did?
That was his collarbone, exactly.
Okay, well, like, it's dumb. It's a lot of things, but a collarbone could heal, you know? It's a bone. So
but you never
Yeah,
know.
no,
Sometimes it
his
can
shoulder
affect.
too was busted up.
Yeah,
like,
it was weird.
It was off a celebration from his last fight. He
Super
injured
worm.
himself, which was not very smart. He is the favorite, minus 155. Anderson plus 135, the underdog. Anderson has won 3 fights in a row in the UFC. He just beat Ilir Latifi, Glover Teixeira, Patrick Cummins. I've been telling you guys about Corey Anderson for a while. Everybody's sleeping on Corey Anderson, talking about Johnny Walker. The odds makers right now have Corey Anderson as a dog, like I said, and I know you guys, or at least AJ, you're picking Johnny Walker. Didn't we bet a dozen bagels on this fight?
Exactly.
So we have, like, bagels riding on this fight. If
Montreal-style bagels.
If my man Corey Anderson wins, you owe me a dozen bagels.
Come on, Dave. We're going to have bagels. Freddie, you know that. We're having bagels on the next show and Johnny Walker. I'm bringing in Johnny Walker if Johnny Walker wins.
Okay, so I've got
Blue?
Corey Anderson.
Well, I mean, Dave doesn't pay us that much, but I'll go.
I don't know
maybe
what
next
that
year
means.
at this time.
I'll buy it for you. How much is that? Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I don't know. Google it.
Okay.
Johnny Walker Blue. It's pretty expensive.
We'll
Yeah,
Google it during the break. All right, how about that? AJ, I'm gonna go with Corey Anderson. You know it, and I'm gonna go with him. Out wrestling Johnny Walker, taking him down over and over again, laying some ground and pound and beating him either by a TKO or submission, maybe a decision. Either way, he's gonna use his wrestling to beat him. I don't know if he'll be able to finish Johnny Walker, but I could see him beating him by TKO. So I'm gonna go with Corey Anderson, TKO victory. Fred. You're
Johnny Walker.
Oh, you got Johnny Walker
but
too?
what? You have Johnny Walker in what round, Freddie?
Doesn't matter.
It does matter
Does it really matter?
I'm
But
gonna
I say
tell you why it matters.
He finishes him.
because
Round 2.
AJ says this: Johnny Walker is going to win this in the first round, knockout.
Okay. Corey Anderson's going to win this by TKO round 3. How do you like them apples, AJ?
With a splash of rocks and
Yeah.
lemon, but that ain't happening.
Well, we'll see because a dozen bagels are on the line. What a bet. What a bet we have. So that's UFC 244. There are other fights on this card, but, you know, whatever. We'll be playing poker during these fights and barely paying attention. So tune in 10 p.m. on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, and watch us do the UFC 244 watch along. 10 p.m. Saturday night when the pay-per-view starts. Our show starts, and we'll be watching the Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie fight, the Derek Lewis, Blagoy Ivanov fight, Vicente Luque, Wonderboy Thompson, Calvin Gastelum, Darren Till, and the main event, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. We'll be watching all those fights on the YouTube channel. Watch us, talk to us, send your comments, and all those good things. All right? Saturday night, 10 p.m. for the live UFC 244 watch-along. This is Ringside Report. I am Dave Simon. He's Fred Garcia. AJ DeLesio is right here. When we come back, we will get to the results from UFC Singapore, results from Bellator, some news from the UFC middleweight division, and The Rock.
Whoa.
Is The Rock going to fight in the UFC?
What?
We'll get to that when we come back. It is Ringside Report. Little break for the radio side. Stay with us.
Well, I can't wait to talk about that.
Rock fighting in the UFC? Does he even do anything? Does
I'm
he
gonna
do
keep.
jiu-jitsu?
I'm
Does
gonna
he-
keep my material for when we go back then,
Okay.
because I got a question right away.
Okay.
I mean, look, the Rock.
If I
love
smell
the
what The Rock is cooking, is that the question?
Nah, I mean it's not a question. It's more like a comment. I mean, is it
Man,
the,
this
is
crush
it the
is
same
good.
guy that like puts in his contracts that he has to win fights in movies? Like that's the guy that's gonna risk
Does he
himself.
do that?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but he's The Rock. He's allowed to do that, Freddie. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, is he gonna risk
It's
himself
like
to look
Sylvester
like?
Stallone. Like, you know, he's always gonna be.
Aye, $275 for this stuff?
Listen, man, we don't. Me and Freddie don't roll cheap, Dave.
This is what you guys want me to buy?
We don't roll cheap here.
If Johnny Walker wins, I'm supposed to buy this?
Listen, next year at this time, when Ringside Report is like, you know, not 49 of 50 of the best shows
Is
like,
it worth
in
it?
the world, and we're hitting like the top 5, you're buying us that Black Label.
Is Johnny Walker Blue that good that it's worth $275?
Dude,
It's good? Have you had
it's
it?
Scotch, man.
Have you had it?
I had it. It's good,
whiskey.
man.
which is the same thing.
Yeah,
Scotch
but, you know,
blended.
It's Johnny.
Is this the
Scotchy
most
Walker.
expensive that you can buy, Johnny Walker?
Well, there's a red, which you can buy. It's
The
about
red
like,
is the normal
yeah,
one.
it's like about $45.
What's
more
the
or
most
less.
expensive one?
Just type in Johnny Walker, you'll see. Because on my app, I saw like some $4,000 bottles, but those are
What?
like
That's what I want, man.
Those are
I
like
want
special.
the Mayweather special.
Black is $75. Blue seems to be the most
Red is
expensive.
what, a 45?
Whoa, that's $2,000.
What? I want that one. AJ wants that one.
$4,000?
What is it?
Oh, $310. Blue
can't see.
Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year.
Oh,
No,
here,
that
here,
ain't
I'll put
happening.
it up. I'll put
special bottle.
From where?
it up. Here, look at this. Okay. 4,300. What is this?
Show me that $4,000 bottle.
It's a Blue Label
Oh,
anniversary
it is Johnny Walker.
Scotch blended. Johnny Walker. 4,356.
What's it made out of? Like,
Damn.
How
is
old
it
is
made
it?
out of like,
Is it like 100 years old or something?
I don't know.
like the molecules of like the Royals? What's in there?
Scroll. It doesn't say.
Cork. Colored glass container.
Made in
Man,
China.
that is expensive. Who's buying that?
61% of
I'll
alcohol.
tell you who's buying that. Guys like Conor
61%.
McGregor.
That is high.
Is it?
Normal Johnny Walker's like 40, I think.
I don't
How mu-
drink
What's
that
the percentage
stuff.
of that, Freddie?
61.
That's good, but it's still not as strong as Grappa. Grappa could go up to like 80. So that's like.
I don't
cute
know
stuff.
about that stuff. See, I got this stuff. This is 18.4%.
Think the SQDC is ever going to have like a super weed for $4,000?
I'd buy it.
Yeah. Freddie, if anybody can make money off of that and there's a market to buy it,
I'd
they'll
buy
do
it.
it.
Man, the SAQ website is way more like they got way more stuff than the weed
But I'm surprised that's-
SQDC website, right?
But I'm surprised Johnny Walker went up to that like price.
Can we
of
go to the
booze.
weed website on the YouTube channel? Are we allowed to do that?
I'm not sure. I'm like, talk to your lawyer.
I mean, it's a government website,
Yeah, you're allowed
right?
to. It's legal. Trudeau made it.
But I had to enter a birthday. Like, I think if you're under 18, you're not allowed to go on this website.
Guess I can't go.
Oh, you might be promoting to.
Yeah, well, we won't put it on the show. You want to get back into it? Happy Halloween, everybody!
Hey,
I'm Hulk
happy
Hogan,
Halloween.
brother. Oh, brother, I got all the belts.
No, that's my belt, man. That's my belt. Nobody messes with Khabib. I smash everybody. I smash you. I smash Freddie. I smash Dave Seaman. I smash
Dave Seaman.
McGregor.
Don't smash my semen.
Khabib smash anything.
See, I opened the weed website now. Fred's just shopping.
Well, I saw a new thing that I never saw before. So I'm
What?
like, that orange one, Trailblazer. I was wondering what it was.
I still told you, like, for jiu-jitsu guys, we need, like, like some cream for our knees and
CBD.
elbows.
Low percentage.
Oh, very low.
What does that mean?
The THC
Means
percentage
not
is low.
strong enough for me.
So what is that for beginners?
Strength, strong. That's what I like to look for. I go to strong. Nothing comes up because they don't have.
I wonder what
anything.
Diaz what he thinks about this. Like, what is he
What does he
smoking?
think
Like
about
high
what?
level stuff? What does he buy?
I
Are
wonder
we
what
getting
Nate Diaz
drinks?
smokes.
Because I saw Ontario's getting drinks in like a month.
Yeah. We're getting
Drinks?
We're getting drinks.
What?
Not candies though. I think we're getting some edibles, aren't we? I think Quebec is getting drinks. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, we should do that for New Year's.
But it's
then.
happening like December, I think. But yeah, I don't know. But it's gonna be like 5 milligrams in a drink, Fred, and it's gonna cost you $15. What's the point? What's the point?
Well, if I drink it, I'm sure like
Yeah,
it'll
if
knock
you
me out.
drink it, but if I drink it, I won't feel nothing. Fred neither. What's the big deal? All right, can we get back into this? What are we doing?
I'm still freaking out that they have a $5,000 bottle. Who buys that stuff here in Quebec?
Man,
The mob?
they should have.
Who can afford it?
They should have a $5,000 like pot of weed. You know, it's like it's an ounce, but it's made from the Himalayan whatever, and it's super awesome, and it's 68% THC. You smoke a piece of it, and you go to space. You know. Imagine that, Fred. I came over. I'm like, look, Fred, I got this weed. It's 75% THC.
Yeah, but didn't Cheech and Chong do that kind of stuff in their movies back then?
Joe Rogan will tell you it's DMT. That's what you need.
yeah. I think that's
What
what
does that mean?
And Cheech and Chong in the 70s, man, seriously, the weed is nothing like it is today. Like
Man, did you
today-
ever see those
But did you
movies?
see they had to smoke gigantic joints? You know,
Yeah,
there's a
dude.
reason
No,
because the stuff
no,
wasn't
no.
very strong.
It was probably more organic back then. Now everything is like
Yeah, AJ, you know a
chemicalized.
lot about weed. You're always
No, but I used to watch all the Cheech and Chong movies. I know them very well.
but you didn't get the references.
Wait, name one.
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, name the title.
It was
name-
actually called Cheech and Chong.
The
No,
first
no.
one might be.
That's not what-
No, I don't
Smoking Up
think
or
so.
something like that.
That's not what it was called.
Wasn't it called Smoking Up
No.
or Up in Smoke?
Yes.
Aha.
Well, you got it on the second try. You said you're a big fan.
Wow, back then. You think I can remember? That's like about 30 years ago. I can't remember what I ate yesterday.
30
Come on,
years
Dave.
ago.
Well, yeah, think about it. It must have been like 1970 something. Ooh.
I love when you
pretty
talk
bad.
about how old you are.
I didn't say that. I said like back then.
I
Cheech
love
and
when you
Chong.
talk
Freddie,
about
you
things
saw
that were
Cheech and Chong?
30 years ago. I was like 4. I love it. All right, can we get back into this? God damn it, AJ.
What happened, Dave?
I don't know.
You see, Dave is dressed up as Hulk Hogan, and I told him, you're missing the stash. You're missing the stash, and you're missing the glasses.
The 10-inch penis.
He's got that too, but I was going to say the biceps are
Brother.
there. He's got the biceps. Look at those biceps.
24-inch pythons, brother. What you gonna do?
I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to go help Johnny North the next time he fights, and you're going to smash Drew Onyx. Drew, I know you're listening. It was a good show, by the way. But you really gave Johnny a beating. The poor guy was bleeding. He was bleeding like a squirrel that got hit by a car, like on the side of Montreal streets. It was terrible. I've never seen so much blood. And the guy didn't win.
How many
Are
squirrels
you trying
have
to put over Drew Onyx
How
right
many
now, man?
squirrels have you hit with your car?
Never. I tried to avoid them at all costs. I hate hitting
You try
squirrels.
to avoid them, but when have you?
Never. I've never hit a squirrel.
Have you ever
I
hit an
swear.
animal with your car?
No, I didn't. I thought I did once, and I almost cried.
But it turned out it was a kid, and you were totally fine with it.
Hey, listen, you know.
Terrible.
All
You're
right.
a bad person.
Back
What
to
are you
the
talking
race.
Back to
about?
the show. Fred's done with us. Back to the show. Okay.
Come on, Freddie.
We got to talk about The Rock. The Rock. All right.
How's he looking, The Rock, nowadays?
Jacked on steroids. All right, welcome back. It's Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. He's Fred Garcia. AJ DeLessio is here.
Khabib.
RingsideReport.net is the website. Go there. Go there right now. What are you waiting for?
Just go, man.
www.ringsidereport.net. All the things are there. Wrestling Uncensored is there.
Good show.
This show, Ringside Report, is
Awesome.
there. Dave and Johnny Live is there. And all the other things are there. You can get all the info for our YouTube channel. You can even watch our YouTube videos and listen to the podcast, download the podcast, find out how to do it on iTunes and so on. Search for us in the iTunes store. We're right there. We're everywhere.
People love listening to our show, Dave.
It's-
Everybody listens to our show.
Well, I
Even
wouldn't
public
say...
security in Westmount stops me, and they're like, I love that show.
Sure, I wouldn't say everybody listens to our
Pretty
show.
much. I know Khabib
But a
does,
lot of
that's for
people
sure.
listen, and we appreciate it very much, and we love you all. And we love you all when you watch us as well, because if you are watching us, you can see our sweet Halloween costumes. AJ's dressed as Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's got the beard and the hat and the gloves. I've got my Hulk Hogan gear gimmick going on.
And Freddie's got the Matt Serra look. Look at him. He's Matt Serra.
Fred is
Fred.
yeah. He's like Hoist Gracie, I think.
Maybe more like Hoist Gracie
Yeah,
nowadays.
It's Hoist Gracie over here.
What happened to Hoist's hair, man? Remember all that hair he had? What the heck?
He got old. It happens. What are you gonna do?
Like, I know it's an MMA show, but did you guys see this week LeBron, like, his hair was, like, falling off?
What?
What do you mean falling off?
The heck is
Well,
that?
like, it got stuck to his headband or something. Like, he's got something added to give a little volume to his hair because he's going bald and he's not real. Well, supposedly or allegedly, whatever. I don't have the direct info, but
It looks like he's adding stuff to it, like fake hair.
What,
yeah.
like is it like that? Remember that infomercial where they used to spray things on your head? It was called like
I'm not sure.
I forgot
I'm
what it
not
was
sure.
called.
I'm just saying it seems like he's losing his.
Oh, it's
his
called
hair's,
Ronco.
His
That's
hair's
it.
But doesn't he have like
sticking
a
to the
shaved
headband.
He's got like a shaved head, anyways. Doesn't
No,
he?
no, he's got like a square head. He doesn't have a
Oh
good.
yeah.
He doesn't have a nice round head like I do. You know?
Yeah, he's got a weird head, I guess. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
so the stuff is coming off. That's pretty bad. Somebody's got to talk to that
Just
guy.
accept your baldness, man.
Yeah, just accept it, LeBron. It's totally fine, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Just accept your baldness like you accept the government of China, okay? Just accept them fully and completely, LeBron. It's all right. Let's move on to, not China, Singapore.
Whoa,
The
yeah.
UFC was in Singapore last weekend, and who woke up early to watch this thing? Yeah, not me. You guys did.
We were supposed to have breakfast. You remember?
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, we were supposed to.
Well, I got a message at when I woke up around maybe 9, on Saturday morning. I wake up, I see my phone, I got a message from Fred saying it's like at 7:30 in the morning, and he's like, I'm up watching this thing, where you guys at? And I'm like, oh boy, it's Fred. And then I think you were watching it too,
I didn't
right?
go to sleep at all because I forgot about like the Bellator fight the night before, and then Dave texts me and he's like, hey, Rory MacDonald's on. I'm like, but I'm like, it already passed, so I watched the fight from the beginning.
No, that's impossible. That's
Yeah.
the wrong. You're talking about that fight was the night of the
That was
Demian Maia fight.
Mir Nelson.
Oh, it was Frank Mir. I apologize.
Frank Mir,
Anyways, I
Roy
didn't go to
Nelson.
bed, and then I woke up. Didn't wake up really. I was up all night watching the Frank Mir fight, and then going straight into Singapore.
You're practicing not to sleep, or
It's hard, Freddie. It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, especially at your age, it's tough, right?
You want to have your cat nap like every 3 hours, but
Good luck to you, AJ.
like I want to sleep right
The
now
next
on this
month
show.
is gonna be hard. We'll deal with that in time. But as for the topic at hand, I was not awake. I didn't see the whole card, but I caught up to it, and I was able to watch the Demian Maia Ben Askren fight with coffee, which was kind of nice in the morning. It was live in Singapore. It was on UFC Fight Pass. And Demian Maia submitting Ben Askren with that rear naked choke in the third round. It was a pretty good fight.
Awesome.
I had it, I'm not really sure how I had it scored. It was tough, right? How did you have it scored going into the third round?
I had it. It was tough because it was really a grappling match. It was fun to watch. It was, if you were gonna watch a fight,
There was a lot of back and forth. It was a really good fight.
It was human chess, and that's what it was. It was a beautiful fight between jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and a lot of people forget that Ben Askren is also a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So it's not like he wasn't anticipating things from Demian Maia. But, it was so hard to call, and I got to give it to Askren. Even though he lost, he still won a lot of the fans.
He did pretty well in the fight. He didn't do terribly. He landed some decent punches on Demian Maia. I thought Maia got the better of the exchanges on the feet. On the ground, it was very even. Maia had some good moments. Askren had some good moments. Maia pulled off a really nice sweep at one point, which was just beautiful. And that was the best part of the fight, when those two guys were grappling and doing their thing on the ground, two of the best grapplers in the UFC. It was really fun to watch because you saw two high-level guys doing their thing and performing at a very high level. Like, it was very exciting to watch. I love that fight. I love the exchanges. And then when Maia got his back and got that body lock, it was over. Once Maia takes your back, you're in big trouble. And I wonder, like, was it a wise move for Ben Askren to exchange so much with Demian Maia on the ground? You're kind of like messing with a snake, you know? You may be able to tame the snake and charm the snake for a while, but eventually he's going to strike and he's going to wrap his body around you and crush you to death, and that's what happened. But
did you see Ben Askren striking?
Well, that's it. Like, I don't think Ben Askren really had the opportunity to do much striking-wise because he just didn't have the ability. He's
not very good.
Yeah,
no, he's very boxy. He's throwing punches like as if he's in a karate match.
It's not.
And that's the problem.
It's not fluid, and Maia did way better standing up than Askren did. So I guess Askren had to take it to the ground, but I feel like, you know, Askren, he did land that good uppercut that busted Maia up. You know, at least standing up, he's in less danger of being finished. And you could let that fight maybe go to the judges, and maybe you win, right? Like, at least I feel like, okay, maybe, sure, it's hindsight and everything, but standing up, he wasn't winning, but he wasn't losing. But you go there on the ground with Demian Maia, and it's way more dangerous. Like, Maia is way more likely to submit you if you mess with him down there than he is to knock you out if you stand up with him.
But Askren is more one-dimensional than Maia, and that's what I said last week, is that he's going to revert to what he knows, which is wrestling. You know, that's where he feels comfortable.
Yep.
And in the end, that's what he's going to revert to. That's him. That's who he is as a fighter. And you know what? We just have to admit it. Like, maybe he's not one of the top 3-4 welterweights in the world right now. But he's a decent fighter, and he still has his place, I think, in the UFC. I hope he doesn't retire. I know he's been considering it, so we'll see what happens. But as far as I'm concerned, I think we just saw Maia was a better grappler, and maybe also where I was surprised is that Maia usually slows down. I thought maybe Askren would be able to slow down Maia as the rounds go, but no, you see Maia was able to keep the pace also. So in a way, I was impressed with Maia as much.
I feel like Maia slows down when he has to strike, but when he gets a lot of those grappling opportunities,
he's so used to it.
That's it.
Exactly.
It's like, well,
muscle memory.
That's it. He barely has to work when he's grappling, and it's so smooth. You see him; he's just so good.
No. I mean, like, if you wanted to see like different transitions from omoplata to weave passes to triangles to whatever, everything was happening in this fight. And you're right. When he's on the ground, he knows how to really control his breathing, how to put pressure, and really go the distance. In grappling matches, it's tough, but once you know the game, you're able to go 3, 4, 5 rounds. When you're standing up, it's a totally different game. And for sure, for grapplers, it's going to be hard. But you know what? I got to give it to Askren, and I hope he doesn't retire because it was a fantastic fight. I think he has a lot to offer in the UFC, and he's an exciting fighter. I hope he fights someone else that's not or maybe another wrestler or whatnot in his next fights. Look, Demian Maia is the best BJJ practitioner in MMA. This guy here, once he gets your back, and look, I chose Askren for this fight because I thought his takedown and top control was going to be what was going to make him win this fight. But I got to give it to Askren too. He was getting out of like situations where most guys would have been closed up on. But once Maia gets your back, it's the beginning of the end. It's hard to fight that off.
You know, Demian Maia is still very good. He's still one of the top welterweights in the world. He's ranked number 6. Askren got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal with a flying knee. He's coming off 2 losses to 2 of the very best in the world right now. I don't think there's any reason for a guy to retire who's 19-2. Okay, he's lost 2 in a row, and he's 1-2 in the UFC, and he's 35 years old. But, you know, he's only 35. Maia's 42 and still doing well. And Askren hasn't lost to anybody that's beneath him. Like, Askren's
Can we trade him back for Mighty Mouse?
No, I mean, Askren's lost to some good fighters.
Wow.
And I could see Ben Askren
I say we book Mighty Mouse against Askren's, and if Mighty Mouse wins, he comes back to the UFC.
Like, let me give you guys some fights here for a second. Ben Askren versus Leon Edwards. Are you guys definitely taking Leon Edwards to beat Ben Askren?
No, I'm
Because
taking
Leon
Askren.
Edwards is ranked 4th in the world right now, according to the UFC. Like, even Kobe Covington, who's going to get the next title shot against Kamaru Usman, given his wrestling-based style, Kobe Covington versus Ben Askren. Are you 100% picking Kobe Covington? Like, I would have trouble picking that fight. I'm not saying I wouldn't pick Kobe Covington, but I think Askren has a shot at beating a guy like that. I think Askren has a
Tell
shot
you what, if Darren
at beating
Till
a lot of guys.
if Darren Till loses tomorrow, man, well, he's at middleweight now actually, so he's not.
Yeah.
But hey, I would like to see Askren's against Till. They've had a little bit of a beef going on. That could be
Askren
interesting.
is still very good, and I don't see any reason why he should retire unless he doesn't want to fight
Maybe
anymore.
just take a step back. Take like 8 months off, like reassess everything.
Look, I'm going to tell you what I think is the most unfair thing here is that depending on who wins between Till, I'd like to see a rematch between Askren and Masvidal again. I think it was the fastest knockout, but I don't think it was
no need for that.
I want to
Not
see
right
that.
now, anyways.
You know what?
If you're Masvidal, you're on to other things. Man, if you
lose,
swept,
what do you do?
Well,
you swept Askren's away.
I like to see that rematch.
Unless he loses to Nate.
Well, I mean, even if he loses to Nate, I feel like Masvidal,
What does he do? What does he do if he loses to Nate? Give me a fight for I'm giving you the top welterweights here in the world. What do you do with George Masvidal if he loses to Nate Diaz?
If I was Askren, I would call him out and say, let's have that rematch. I mean, it was just an unfortunate loss. That would be a fight that everybody wants to see.
I know it's AJ saying it, Fred, but he's not totally wrong. Like, it's not unreasonable.
I feel when a guy disposes of his opponent like Masvidal did of Askren, there's no need for him to come back.
Yeah,
Askren would have a lot to gain from this fight. But what does Masvidal can do better than he did that fight? Actually, earlier I was saying he could have, but I was just joking, okay? So I wasn't serious on that one.
Freddie, it was a lucky, you know what? Sometimes you get lucky in fights.
It wasn't lucky.
You get lucky.
Askren's reverted to what he knows, which is wrestling, and he put his head down and Masvidal predicted it.
But I'm saying it's not really a fight. It's just it was that lucky knockout punch in the first 5 seconds. It could happen. It doesn't it's not a good indicator of who
I
is the
don't
better
agree.
I
fighter.
think you guys both have a point, but I don't know.
Luck is not a good way to describe it.
I wouldn't hate seeing a rematch there with that fight. All right, we got other things here we have to get to. So Maia wins. Maia's saying, by the way, just for a second, he's saying he's going to fight. He's got 2 more fights left. He's coming towards the end of his career. He's got 2 fights on his contract, and he wants his next fight to be against Diego Sanchez.
Why?
I think I read today that his contract might be up with the UFC. Diego.
Really?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Diego Sanchez isn't ranked in the top 10. Maia's ranked number 6. Maia just beat Ben Askren.
That should be an easy fight for
Maybe
Maia.
Well, yeah, it's too easy for Demian Maia.
But maybe there's some bad blood
No,
between
it's just
these
respect.
two guys.
It's just respect because Diego Sanchez said he wanted to fight him because he respects him, and Demian Maia is just like, okay, you can do it. But
yeah, but it doesn't
I don't
mean that
really.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay. So Joe Rogan was interviewing Joe Leduc. What's his name? The left-way guy?
Oh, Dave Leduc.
Dave Leduc. And he's the one that supposedly is close to Diego Sanchez, and he said that his contract with the UFC was done on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Huh. So I don't know what the deal is with Maia and Sanchez, but I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not really into that. How about Rory MacDonald losing to Douglas Lima? That was a pretty good fight. It was a close fight. Rory lost. He lost nearly every round. I thought he won the first and then lost every other round after that, but I didn't think he lost them by a wide margin. I thought Douglas Lima did just enough to win most of the rounds in the fight.
I mean, this is the second time Lima beats Rory, right?
No,
So
it's the first time.
I thought
Rory
they fought
beat him
before.
last time. They fought before and Rory won.
Okay,
That's
I
why
apologize.
Rory's the current
All right.
champion, AJ.
I'm
Pay
sorry,
attention
I'm
to
sorry,
Bellator.
I'm sorry, man. To be honest, I didn't see the fight, and you know what?
Okay.
It's a shame.
Well, don't talk about it then.
No, but
you don't know what you're talking about. Once
I made
again,
I made an error, which doesn't happen often, Dave.
why? What happened? You took Rory?
I thought Rory would win. for
Yeah,
sure.
well, I thought he would too, but he didn't. It was a very close fight, though. Rory barely lost. The interesting part about this is, Douglas Lima gets $1 million because he wins the Bellator tournament, and he becomes the Bellator welterweight champion because Rory was the champion. It's a pretty big night for Douglas Lima, so congratulations to him. And B, Rory MacDonald's contract now with Bellator is done. So what happens to Rory?
Yeah?
If you're the UFC, okay, you lost to Douglas Lima, but you're still Rory MacDonald, you're still one of the best in the world. Would you think the UFC would offer him a deal? I would think they would be interested.
I would take it right away. I've been saying that for the longest time. Rory needs to be back in the UFC.
I'm not sure they'll offer him the kind of money that's going to make him go back to the UFC, though.
If he was the champion, he'd have way more leverage and way more bargaining power. The fact that he's coming off a loss,
And that must
is
hurt
unfortunate.
being backstage after the fight, knowing that your opponent just won $1 million. Like,
Yeah,
That
and you don't
sucks.
have that kind of bargaining power for your new contract because you lost the fight. It's disappointing, but I still think Rory's a big star in MMA, and if Bellator doesn't want to shell out some money and the UFC doesn't want to shell out some money, call ONE FC or call one of these other promotions and
but
see
it's
where
not
you
the
stand
same,
there.
Dave. Come on,
Who
let's be
cares?
honest. You need to get
Who
back into the
cares
UFC. That's
who you're
the big
fighting
stage.
if you're getting paid the same amount of
It's not
money.
the same,
I would
Dave.
rather get paid the same money for easier fights.
but as a fan, I hope he stays in North America at least. Because look at that last Demetrius Johnson fight. When it happened, we both missed it. We both went like, "Oh, Demetrius was fighting."
It happens at like 5 a.m. What are we supposed to do? Wake up to watch
Yeah,
it
exactly.
in
Well,
Asia
that's the
or
problem.
wherever?
But we
Yeah.
woke up for Singapore, right? And that was early
No, I
morning.
didn't. I woke up for the main
Yeah,
event.
That
which
was
at,
7:30. It was a little bit
Look,
better.
but
Yeah.
we woke up for it because it's a UFC fight and there's good names on
No,
the card. If Rory
incorrect.
MacDonald is in the UFC and the fight's happening at 5 in the morning, I'm getting up. I want to see Rory fight. I want to see it.
Whatever, AJ. How about
Rory.
The Rock? He's supposed to make some sort of big announcement. I don't know what that means. He says he's got some sort of announcement that he wants to tell UFC fans.
Probably has a movie coming up.
What if it's a fight?
Against who? Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
It's not going to go too good
Brock
for The Rock.
would kill him.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy might not be too good.
Matt
either.
Hardy.
I mean, The Rock's still up there in age, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, The Rock's like nearly 50. There's no way he's fighting, right?
But he looks so good. He looks so
There's
good.
no way he'd pass the drug test, right?
It might be a bit of a problem. Tainted
I mean,
meat.
Paulo Costa passes drug tests, so
Paulo Costa's hurt, by the way.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Again?
Paulo Costa suffered an injury. He's
And-
out for 8 months, and the UFC was
What
going to give
the-
him a middleweight title fight against Israel Adesanya, and now they say they're looking for a new challenger, but then his manager said that Paulo Costa could be back by March or April, so
What's the
they
injury?
could do the fight then. I'm not sure what the injury is.
Bicep.
8 months.
Bicep?
Oh, bicep. He might have had a bicep tear. That's terrible.
Well,
So-
whatever it is, Paulo Costa, who was the #1 contender for the middleweight title, seems to be out, and it looks like Yoel Romero is next.
I don't want that. If anything, now is the time to do the John Jones fight between him and Israel. I mean, look, Israel right now, he's as hot a star as you could have right now in the middleweight division. Make him come up and fight John Jones. John Jones has nothing to do right now. It's so boring for John Jones. At least Adesanya is a name that we know. So if anything, I think right now is the best time to do that fight.
Freddie's right.
I'm not against it. Why not? Let's have some fun. But the Yoel Romero fight is not bad either.
Nah.
Yeah, but the guy's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. So I mean, does he really deserve a title fight?
No, he's won one fight in the past 3 years. I don't think that's a #1 contender, but he's one of the top names in the middleweight division right now, and the top contender dropped out. I'd like to see John Jones fight, but I don't think it's going to happen.
You never know.
I still
Dave.
don't know what's going to happen to John Jones. He'll probably fight the winner of Johnny Walker, Corey Anderson, which will be Corey Anderson. Check it out, and hey, I'll be able to gloat about the results live on YouTube on Saturday night, right as that fight comes to an end. We will be starting our live watch-along on the YouTube channel, and you could watch the UFC BMF title fight along with us, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell, get the notifications, leave a comment, and all of those good things. www.ringsidereport.net is our website. More info on everything we do over on the website. Follow AJ on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Bruck. You can follow Fred at Freddy MMA, and you can follow me at Dave Simon MMA. For Fred and AJ Khabib,
Smash time.
I'm Dave Hulk Hogan, and this has been Ringside
Report.
Brother.
Smash time. Smash time, Khabib. Champ.